Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here and welcome to another AFK Journey video. So in this video we'll tackle the hero wish list, and I'm more geared towards mid to late game now. So my list may look different from some of the early game guys, but I'll explain my choices and why you should be updating your list regularly. We'll go over the general pool as well as the epic recruitment pool, just so that you can see what I'm building at the moment. So right off the bat, let's do this by faction. With the Lightbearer faction, as you approach the mid to late game, the one unit I think is locked for the S level is going to be Rowan. Rowan just does so much. The amount of supports he is able to provide, the heals, the buffs, as well as the energy restoration is huge for the team. So Rowan's pretty much locked here. And the other one, TimaeuSS, it's not a bad choice. A tank that can CC help with disrupting the enemy is definitely good. However, the only reason why TimaeuSS is here at the moment is because the other best choice, Vela, is currently on rate up, so you can't add her to the hero recruitment at the moment. So once the Vela banner is over, most people should be swapping TimaeuSS out for potentially running Vela instead in that slot. Now, moving on towards the A level units, I don't think there is any other room for swapping, potentially having other choices other than Merrily as well as Core. Merrily is a super strong dream around damage dealer, and despite being kind of average elsewhere, Merrily is too good to skip out on. You definitely want to pull multiple copies, and you have to build her. Moving on is Corin. Corin is one of the best A level units, being able to provide CCs to the enemy and as well as shielding your allies. Filling the secondary DPS role and support role is so key in your team in some of the Dream Realm competitions. So for libraries, these three I believe are currently pretty much set in stone, with Vela potentially replacing TimaeuSS. Now moving on towards Mauler, you can see I don't have Brutus, and a lot of people was just one copy of Brutus. I did Lux sack Brutus early on, so I didn't have the unit, but you can see the two I have is Shakir as well as Smokey. Now I am a huge fan of Smokey. Smokey, you can see I have it maxed luckily, and Smokey is one of the best early game support / healers, and he really scales well into the late game, dominating pretty much all of the PvE game modes. So you definitely want to have his dupes, because later on he's able to provide haste and improved aroma, which actually deals damage as well in that AoE cone. The other choice, Shakir, a warrior that is able to transform into a wolf, I believe. He required multiple copies, so pretty much Mythic Plus, once you unlock his EX weapon upgraded, then he'll be able to do off tanking and buff allies, and do decent damage as well. But again, multiple dupes required, so there's no rush. But Smokey 100% going to be the important one, and since I have Smokey maxed, I'm gonna put Rise there as well. So Rise is the other unit that is not the worst. Looking at the kit, basically able to increase crit and gain control immunity and knocking back enemies, and also can move while attacking. So I mean, your choices are pretty much limited. Once you've maxed Smokey, in my case, you pretty much just swap to another potential choice. For the A levels, again, we are pretty much locked in the sense that Odie is probably one of the best A level units in the game. Damage is super strong, especially in PvE, where the poison stacking as well as bonus damage when enemy is below kind of a certain threshold, it means that he will always be able to top the charts. So yeah, not a lot of room for error there. And then Kruger is the other one, being the best Dream Realm debuffer in the game, is basically means that he'll always have a slot in the wish list for Maulers. So again, similar to Lightbearers, Maulers also have pretty much the 2 A levels as well as one of the S level locked. Alright, and moving on towards Wilder. Wilder, I think, pretty much has no room for other than these 4 choices, right? In the main slot, you have got Iron. Iron is so strong after reaching Mythic Plus, because he can ult right at the beginning, and it's a CC that allows him to pull enemy units together in a singular cone, and it just performs extremely well with the rest of the CC team, the crowd controlling team. So Iron's going to be there, and then you have Hewen. Hewen is a fantastic healer that is able to heal the whole battlefield. The only downside is that she is a bit slower and offers less utility, but still a very good choice. And you can later on swap Granny as your potentially other tank choice, but for now these two are pretty much set in stone. And the other two, the A levels, Arden, again, if you pair up with Iron, you have to run Arden, one of the best damage dealers if the enemy is CC'd. And then Damien, a newcomer, relatively new PvP meta unit. So that was, I think, towards the end of the PTR patch, before we had the public server. So pretty much relatively new. A lot of people don't know about this, but if you have the opportunity, try him out. Set him in the wish list, and once he boosts his copies and builds into Mythic Plus, you will be able to upgrade the EX weapon, which provides haste to the team. So you will pretty much go first, which is very important, getting your skills off before the enemy. So again, Wilder, not a lot of room for error, pretty much none. Now Graveborn, this is going to be very controversial. I would say this is probably the most controversial thing on the list, is that if you're looking for mid-game to late-game switch, Cecia is actually taken off in favor of having Carolina to pair up with Thoran and Iron as kind of the new premier CC team unit, right? This combination is extremely deadly. So to do that, you of course have to run Carolina and then Thoran as the wish list for S levels in Graveborn. You could also potentially take off Carolina and Processia there if you are looking to push into the earlier parts of the game, or if you just like Cecia as a unit and you've already heavily invested in her. But for a lot of players, this is the better choice. And well, I'll mention Igor because Igor was nerfed prior to release, but he is still a very annoying PvP unit that just sometimes solos your entire team 1 versus 5 by jumping around non-stop. So yeah, otherwise Thoran, I don't think anyone will take him off of the list until max, because Thoran is just that good. One of the best, if not the best, premier tanks in the entire game. As well as looking at some of the A level choices, we don't have a lot. We've got the assassin in Sylvina, which I think personally, because she's a lot easier to get, and if you're not a mega whale, she's gonna be almost a poor man's version, or even better version of Vela, because you'll be able to get multiple copies of her a lot easier. So don't count her out. Definitely a very strong assassin. And the other one is Viperian, kind of making up the tri-core Graveborn if you're not going for the Caroline build. So this is the wish list for the general pool. And again, I don't really recommend you using gems here and just setting up for potentially epic recruitment or looking into the radar banner for a future unit. Now looking at the epic recruitment pool, you can choose 5 S levels or mix and match and have some A levels included, but I highly suggest you choose the S level units in the wish list. And you can see here I've got the following, because I previously had Smokey in there instead of, for example, Hewen, right? I was able to max Smokey along with the wish list, and this is what I have. Again, building upon the Iron, Carolina, Thoran team. And then because Smokey is max, we'll swap with Hewen, and the rest is going to be Rowan having the support, which is very important. Now later on, once I Supreme plus one of the other units, I might swap the Granny in just to get more copies, or looking into other units as well. But this epic pool is you don't have a lot of choices. You unfortunately don't have a lot of choices, so you should focus on these meta units or boosting units you already have. And last but certainly not least, the Stargate Station also has a wish list, and the only choice right now is going to be Rainier. Okay, everyone else just is not that great in comparison. You definitely want Rainier, and you want multiple copies going into Mythic Plus and going into later on dupes heavy Legendary Plus, yeah, and Rainier as the Light and Darkness premier unit. There's not a lot of choices. Maybe later Dionyl is going to be, Dionyl might be a potential replacement because you can't get Reiner dupes in guild. So after you've hypermaxed Reiner, you can look at potentially other light and darkness units, but until then, Reiner all the way for a couple of weeks, if not months, I want to say. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts. Hopefully this was helpful in your journey as you plan towards the mid-game to end-game switch, so that you understand why you're pulling these characters and why having them in your selection in the wish list is going to be important. All right. Wow, that was quite a long video. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any other thoughts or suggestions, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye now.